everyone and welcome to another video on Tutorials Point with Ms.Richa. Today under the Teaching Skills for Educators module, we will talk about a topic which is one of my personal favorite and a topic which I'm very passionate about, and that is planning the teaching or the training session. Well, if you are a trainer or if you are a teacher who is teaching a large adult kind of an audience, this is something that will definitely benefit you. Let us see. On the agenda today, we will talk about icebreakers and how and what to use in them, importance of a body language of a trainer or a teacher, 7 secrets to handling a hostile audience, and handling participants' questions in the best way possible. So friends, what exactly are icebreakers? Let's take a look at the definition. An icebreaker is an activity, a game or an event that is used to welcome and warm up the conversation among the participants in a meeting, a training, a class, a team building session, or even another event. Any event that requires people to comfortably interact with each other, and a facilitator is an opportunity to use an icebreaker. So if you have a set of participants who do not know each other, a set of participants wherein you feel that they need to get comfortable with each other before you begin a session, is when you will use an icebreaker. An icebreaker is just a way to get the people comfortable to each other and open up and introduce each other. So let's see when to use an icebreaker. When participants come from different backgrounds and different cultures and different cities, that is when you'd like them to get comfortable with each other, and hence use an icebreaker at that point of time. When people need to bond quickly so as to work together towards a common goal. If you are having a training session wherein you have to make the people work together towards a common mission or a goal, that is the place wherein you will use an icebreaker. The third team is, or rather the third way is, your team is newly formed. In an organization, if a team has been newly formed, you want the people to get comfortable with each other by opening up themselves to each other. And the fourth one is that the topics you are discussing are new or unfamiliar to many people who are involved in that session. When there are new topics and new things where people have no idea, that is the time you would definitely like to use an icebreaker. So how do we use an icebreaker? There are different ways and means and methods of using an icebreaker. Let's look at them. Define the objectives for the training. At the very beginning of the session of training, you need to inform the participants what are going to be the objectives or the learning and the agenda for that particular session. Keep the activity simple. It's important that your icebreaker should not take up half an hour or an hour's time. It has to be within 15 to 20 minutes of time frame. So stick to that particular time frame. Thirdly, consider the size of the audience. Well friends, if you've got a really large set of audience, for example 30 or 40 people in your class or your session, you definitely don't want to use an icebreaker which is very complicated, because that will take up a lot of your time. So keep your icebreaker looking at the size of your audience in mind. However, if you have a shorter audience, say 10 or 15 people, that is a time a good time breaker, or rather an icebreaker, can be useful for you. Keep to the time. So it's important that an icebreaker is a very start of the training session, and you have to ensure you do not go and make it a lengthy procedure. Well friends, what is the importance of a body language? Well, a body language of a trainer really plays a very important role while you are having the session. Now, body language is of course non-verbal communication, which means your action speaks louder than words. Now, body language has 3 basic things. Your postures, that is the way you sit and stand or even walk. Your gestures, which are your hand movements, and your facial expression, which is what you show on your face. Hence, it's important to understand that body language can actually make or break your impression as a facilitator or as a trainer. Well, the importance of body language is to keep others' attention. If you feel that participants are losing their attention and are not being able to concentrate, you can definitely pick on them because their body language will show. To create a good atmosphere, it's important to have a good actions and body language. To create more impact, because a person who doesn't use body language definitely doesn't have an impactful session. Provides information about an individual's characteristics, emotions, as well as their reactions. Now just imagine this, you are in the middle of a training session and an audience, somebody from the audience is showing kind of a boredom. Well, definitely you'll be able to pick on them because you can watch their body language. An important and decisive factor when transmitting a message. Hence, friends, these are all reasons which help us to know that body language is indeed a very important part of a trainer or a facilitator. Now, dealing with an audience which is very, very critical, as a speaker or as a trainer and a facilitator or a teacher, it is important that you know how to deal with the audience when they criticize you. Nothing is more antagonistic to the freedom of speech than a mob shouting a speaker into silence. Well, it really happens at times wherein you get a difficult audience. Fear not, we will teach you how to deal with these audience type and what to do and not do with them. Well, 7 secrets is what I'm going to talk to you about in order to handle a hostile audience who are really trying to hijack your session. So let's take a look at them. Have an objective. When you're dealing with such kind of an audience, you need to understand your objective and learning outcome needs to be very clear. Try to stay calm because they might try to antagonize you, they might try to really fire you up and make you angry, but you need to stay calm there. Try to be positive about it. Get prepared. Nothing is more worst for a trainer rather than not being prepared with what he or she has to say. So preparation is very important. Stick to the facts. Do not go out of the boundaries. Just try to maintain the facts whenever you're trying to talk to a hostile audience. Be aware of your own body language. Well, friends, at times if we are given a critical or a criticism, we might show in our body language in some or the other way. For example, folding our hands or putting our hands into the pocket or having our hands on our hips. Well, these are actually the negative body language, so you need to be aware of them. Establish a common ground. Do not let the hostile audience think that they are different from the entire group. So try to have like a common ground wherein they don't feel that much antagonized about it. Well, handling participants' questions. As a trainer, if you are getting a lot of questions from your participants, it is a good thing. However, you need to be knowing how to handle these questions in the most efficient and effective manner. So let's take a look at that. What are audience questions or participants' questions? If you have a particular interest in a specific topic, an internet search may be helpful. For example, if somebody asks you a question and you have no idea about it, try to do a Google search on that. On a local level, some departments may have websites on which there is contact information regarding something which has been asked to you. So you can definitely refer to those websites. Well, let's look at how to handle questions in a better manner. Try to listen to the questions. Do not hear the questions, listen to the question. Try to understand what the participant is really meaning by that particular question. There may be a hidden agenda or there might be another root cause of that question. Communicate and involve the others as well, not only the person who has asked the question. Try to throw open the question to the rest of the audience by asking them to involve themselves. And lastly, try to respond in the best of manner to this particular participant's question. Well, things to avoid, these are definitely things you want to avoid when you're handling a particular participant's question. Answering the question you wished you had been asked. Well, a lot of times it happens that we might think that, why weren't we asked that particular question? Do not wish it. Just answer the question which was being asked. Making a second mini presentation. Well, do not try to deviate from the topic and have a separate mini presentation just because one of the people have asked you that particular question. And thirdly, do not pass the blame. Do not pass it to the coordinator or to the manager or to anybody else who was involved in making that particular content. So do not pass the blame. So friends, I do hope you have enjoyed listening to this particular module on how to plan a training session or a teaching session. I hope you have understood all the concepts that were taught over here. We really had a good time teaching you this particular module. Keep watching, more videos coming your way. Thank you very much.
Tutorialspoint.com. Simply easy learning.